So that's an important thing to know. And now what did she say about her coursework? She thought she wanted to write, and maybe she does, because, you know, the jury's still out on that. But what is she discovering through a process of doing? What's she discovering?
Psychology.
That something about psychology just grabs her. So in coaching, we look at elements just like that. We pay attention to life. We ask the question, why are you here? We find lots of ways to begin to discuss and explore. So what grabs you? Because that might be a real key indicator to discovering one's purpose. So purpose is why we're here, and one of the ways we begin to uncover that is to recognize what are the things that you just love to do. What are some of the things that you do that are easy for you that might be a challenge for somebody else? What is the thing that you would do without pay and never get bored of it? So one of the things that I do for without pay is to be here. And why am I here? Because one of the things that I've absolutely discovered is I'm here to unleash their greatness in others. I love to help people discover who they are, what their gifts are, and what they were put here on the earth to do. And so anybody who wants to talk about that any time of the day, I probably would show up. It wasn't hard for Peggy to, maybe it was hard for her to ask me, it wasn't hard for me to say yes, because this is who I am. And God's been gracious to show me lots of ways to do it, mostly in organizational settings. And so we can talk about my journey, but I really want to talk more about yours. I started out focusing largely on organizational teams and organizational consulting. And that's what I love to do. I love to work with businesses to figure out how they unleash the potential of the people, their greatest resource. So it shows up in organizational settings for me that way. But then I had a big life transition. I had a serious period of grief. I lost both of my parents within 2 months of each other. And the energy that it takes to be present in a group was just too demanding. And so in the period of time that I was doing my own inner work, I stepped away from large groups, and through my own counseling, through my own prayers, through just what life served me at that time was, maybe I want to work with some people one-on-one. Maybe I want to discover a way that feels more restful to me. And so I pursued coaching, and that's been 12 years now. So I've not stopped my organizational work. I still have great fulfillment in that, because I'm always looking at helping people discover who they are, what their gifts are, and whether it's one person or a group of people or an organization of people, how do we make sure all that gets unleashed so that their full potential is being demonstrated, and that organizations are as effective as they can be because they're fully using the human potential that's inside. Does that make sense? So I want you to begin to think that once you discover your purpose, it can manifest itself in lots of different ways. There's not just one way to express it. As Dee Dee said, mom at home to mom with nonprofit. Anita's in the journey of exploring what is it about psychology that grabs her. And Chelsea says she knows that she's here to serve the purpose of others. So we're in different places, different stages, and our different life cycles take us to explore who we are for that season. Talked about a new season, right? So as we look to the different seasons of our life, this question gets answered and it gets refined. I don't think it fundamentally changes once we really get a handle on why am I here, but how we express that and the domains and the audiences and the ways we get to manifest it might change. So fulfillment, what's that? What do you think?
It's feeling full, it's feeling content.
Yeah, feeling full, feeling content, just like the word says. So when I discover my purpose and I'm operating out of this, when I am using my gift in the world, when I figure out what I was created to do and I'm doing it, how do you think I'm going to feel about that?
It's the ah moment.
It's the ah moment. It really is. It's a moment of alignment. So as I say, we're beings that are mind, body, and spirit. And when I'm fulfilled, there's an alignment. Think of a time, can you think of a time, when you knew that you were absolutely in the right place doing the right thing? And it just felt right on all three domains, mind, body, and spirit. I'm working on the right stuff. I'm with the right people. It feels great. And I know I'm supposed to be doing this.
Mm-hmm. There's a great book called The Cure for the Common Life, Living in Your Sweet Spot.
Did everybody get that? Make sure I remember that too. I would remember. Living in your,
The Cure for the Common Life, Living in Your Sweet Spot by Max Lucado.
there you go. So we know on a tennis racket, we know in most.
Baseball.
That
Baseball.
tennis- baseball, there's a sweet spot. So he's saying, and I can't wait to read that then, that there's a sweet spot. And I would imagine that's the perfect analogy for fulfillment. So in coaching, the way that plays out is it's important for each one of us to know that we have the right to live a fulfilled life. Sometimes, as you said, Anita, life takes us along, and much of our life becomes an expression of what comes to us. We may feel that choice has been taken from us. We have to respond to the circumstances that are present. And so life isn't always this wonderful, happy-go-lucky, great experience. So it's important to remember that we can create fulfillment, and so the issue becomes, what choices do I make that lead me to fulfillment, and what are the choices that I make that take me away from it? Just beginning to pay attention when you make a choice, because your spirit, your mind, and your body will tell you. One of the things that I tell people all the time is that the mind will lie, but the body never does. So if you make repeat choices, I have a cousin right now that's very ill because I think she's functioning in a dysfunctional system, trying to carry too much for too many people, and it's just broken down in her body now. And so that's a great wake-up call. Sometimes illness is a wake-up call that says, I'm not operating in choices that really serve who I am and what I was here to do. And so we just want to notice that. Because we all have to do things we don't want to. Fulfillment is not about always making all the choices that we love. Key point, we can be fulfilled even in the struggle. Tell me how that would be true.
I quit my job in 2010. I worked in social work for 3.5 years. Quit my job without another job to go to because I was sick. Because it, like you said, wore my body out. Had no clue how I was going to pay bills. Had no money. I was happier than I'd ever been in my life.
There you go. And I didn't pay her to say that. Didn't even know. So that's a perfect example.
And then things start coming. We went to Blackhawk, never gamble, won $3,500 to pay my bills. Jobs come, people come, experiences come when you're mindful and you're in the now. For me, it was. Everything else just flowed better because I